So yeah, my name is Lior. I run a Substack newsletter called Exploring ChatGPT, and the description's pretty much in the title. I explore it. I do fun things with it, at least fun things for me. And and not too long ago, I joined a special community known as Kazora.
Hmm.
Joel is one of the co-founders, um, as well as Michael Simmons and Claudia Faith, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's an awesome community. Everybody has something special to offer, and yeah, I don't want to talk too much about what I do for now, but we can get into that as we go. And I think Joel probably needs no introduction, but maybe he wants to introduce himself as well.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Hi, everyone. So I am Lior is the ChatGPT user. I broke up with ChatGPT maybe 9 months ago.
Yeah,
I am fully moved on to Claude. Probably 90% of everything that I do is in Claude. So you'll get a good. I like the chats with Lior because it's a good balance between people who use AI in different ways, which is nice. I One of the things that I want to mention before we start is this week, Window. I don't know how many of you know Window. If you, oh, there you go. We have a lot of hearts. Window and I launched Newsletter Compass. So it's newslettercompass.com. It's a full AI. We've been working on it for about 6 months, and it's a full AI toolkit for creators. And so if you're a creator, check it out. Use code welcome when you come in there, and you'll get 50% off for life. But essentially, it is once you go in, it's going to study your Substack. It's going to study the last, I believe, 10 posts that you have. It's going to give you outline your voice, saves it, and then it uses your voice for every single tool that's on there, whether it's subject analyzer, gap analysis, notes generator, welcome email generator, about me page generator. So if you are a content creator on Substack, newsletter Compass is for you. It's one of the things that I just did. But I wanted to have this chat with Lior just because there's so much that we've been talking about AI bubble. I hear it. I hear it left and right. There's an AI bubble. It's going to blow up, and it it is something that causes fears. It causes anxiety. Fears and anxieties sell. So you are going to see it everywhere. But I just wrote a post about it this earlier this week. What day is today? Thursday. Yeah, so last Thursday I wrote about it. And then Leo let me know that he just wrote about it as well. And I just wanted to have a chat on what our perspective is on the AI bubble, what is true, what may not be true. And honestly, as leaders, what is a balanced approach that we can take, really not knowing what's going to happen in the rest of 2026, but how can we have a balanced approach to what we're doing? So um I'll kick it off to you, Leo. What comes to mind when you think of the AI bubble, and how afraid or not afraid is it, or how paralyzing do you think it should be for leaders as they're investing and diving into AI?
yeah, sure. I mean, there's so many angles to attack here.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, if we want to talk economically for a second here, I'm not a huge markets guy. I'm kind of more of like, set it and forget it, S&P 500, dollar cost average until I'm 70.
Mhm.
But basically, obviously, there's been rising valuations. I mean, I'm not too technical with that stuff either, PE ratios and all of that nonsense. But rising valuations definitely make it feel like a bubble. Mass layoffs can make it feel that way as well. So there is some good reason for these feelings, that people are having. I don't want people to panic. I think if anything, this is more of an opportunity and more of a good reason for you to invest more time learning AI, using it every day, exploring it like I do, building with it. Um, and unfortunately, if you don't, you may be left behind. But it's kind of more of a wake up call than anything to say
Mhm.
whether if we want to go back to markets for a second here,
Yeah.
I think there's a big difference between what people now call the AI bubble versus, if it's the dot-com bubble or if it's the financial crisis 2008. I think the main difference is that if you look at the dot-com bubble, the prices, market prices ran way far ahead of utility. That's the main, before the internet became this huge thing that created so much value for people and so many jobs, stock prices were through the roof for companies like Yahoo or whoever it may be. But I actually think that this time it's the opposite. I feel like in this case, and I have some notes in front of me here just because I wanted to prepare for this a little bit, and I have written down that AI is inverted, um, in terms of it being a bubble, because the utility of AI and the mass usage of AI is running way far ahead of the narrative of whatever this bubble may be. Whereas a bubble like the dot-com bubble, the narrative and was way far ahead of the utility. So I think that's a major difference between what people now call the AI bubble, which I don't really think exists, even if there is a bubble in the markets. If there's a small pullback or a big pullback, I don't think that really matters in the long run. It's going to be followed by a major comeback.
Mhm.
So that's my
No,
basic
that's
way of
good.
summing it up. Yeah.
That's good. And as we're talking, everybody who's watching, please drop your questions, drop your comments in the chat. We want to be able to address them, and I'm sure we have a lot of experts here that can have good insight. It's
Yeah.
funny because I invest in the same way, Lior. I invest in the S&P 500 mainly through SPY, but then I do a lot of options trading whenever there's a market pullback. Um, I don't really trade on individual stocks. So I was looking at the dot-com bubble as an example. Um, the last time that tech kind of felt like a big thing, and there was a crash, and everybody keeps talking about that. Even so, I think of the S&P 500. That's the main piece that I invest on in 2020 when that happened. There was a pullback, and then we were right back up to where we were. Now, if you're talking about individual companies, Google, I'm looking at the chart here, had a pullback from about 76 to 54, and then within 4 months, it was back to 70. Other companies, Microsoft, it went up to 57, then there was the pullback, and it didn't make it up to 57 until 16 years later. So, if you are somebody who's betting your life on one individual company that uses AI, if you're betting all your savings on Nvidia, or you're betting all your savings on whatever, I would be hesitant. But as I'm looking at the market as a whole, it, I am not somebody who thinks AI, there's such a risk that you should not invest either in the market right now or invest as a leader, your organization on AI as an infrastructure. Because one of the things I want to talk about a few of the things here that I have in front of me. One of the things that I hear time and time again is there really is no value with AI. Everything's just perceived value. And that may have been true when ChatGPT first launched, but there are so many companies now that they're not all over the headlines and they're not screaming it, but they are truly building an infrastructure with the use of AI. One of the recent ones that I saw is Walmart has been wanting to do a huge improvement of their product catalog. They have one of the biggest product catalogs of any retail company, and it's 850 million pieces that they were able to revamp and optimize on their product catalog. And it would have taken them 100 times the cost of that revamp if they would have had to do it manually than with AI. And they're already tracking an increase of 22% over last year, just in Q1 of FY26 with AI. So more and more, I'm seeing companies. Now, there's a difference between, hey, here's a new company that doesn't really do much and it's valued at 5 billion. That's that's dangerous. But more and more, I am seeing there are wise CEOs, wise leaders that are using AI to expand the reach in whatever they're doing. And that's really where I'm trying to put myself, and I think where we should all try to put ourselves instead of running away from AI because of a fear of a bubble or not a bubble.
Absolutely. Fantastic point. By the way, just as a reminder, I can't see the chat because I'm on mobile.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, if there's any questions or things like that, let me know.
Let me read you the one. We have one for Aaron here. So if models come to a point where small aisles can run on a device, won't the hyperscalers hurt? Right now, it's still large models outperforming small ones. But I think targeted use cases can be done with small targeted models, fine tuned and running on a device. What do you think about those? Just everything that AI is allowing for individual models and individual customization.
Well, I think like on a larger scale, I mean, it doesn't really matter if you're using smaller models or larger models or whatever the case may be. If we're talking about people being scared of an AI bubble, whether it's because of their stock market portfolio or possibly losing their jobs, which we've seen a lot of recently. I think it just comes back to what I said earlier, which is this is the wake up call to start using it more, learning more about it, joining communities like Kazora to, to learn from people that use it every day.
Hmm.
If you haven't been already, um, that's just the world we're moving towards. And I'm not an expert on smaller models, larger models, XYZ. We've spoken about this before, Joel. I'm a chat GPT guy. I'm like the boomer, AI
Oh,
guy that just goes, but not, nothing against every other, form of AI and every other company. But I think at the end of the day, what you mentioned as well, which is don't worry about what this one single company is doing or that single company is doing. Look at the spectrum of what AI has been doing to the global economy thus far and how it's, depending on which side of the aisle you are, I don't really think it's a political issue. I think it's an issue of, um, unfortunately, not every country is friends with every country, but we're all kind of in this race, right? And we want to get there first. So I don't think it necessarily matters which single company it may be, whether it's OpenAI or Meta or Claude or whoever it may be. It's it's a good time now if you haven't started already to start using AI in your everyday life. Start building with it. Start exploring it. Um, so yeah, in terms of that comment that you mentioned, smaller models, larger models. I don't really have much input on that. I'm not an expert, but um, yeah, that's about it.
yeah. It's it's going to be really interesting how the economy of software as a service is going to change because of AI and just how much AI allows. And I think that is going to have an impact on a lot of companies. Not probably not the big titans, but I'll give you a small example. I used a workout app that I was paying like $12 a month or something, and then my wife was using a similar one, was paying about $15 a month, and I really didn't want to keep paying that. I use Cursor for a lot of the things that I do, and then I took a bunch of pictures of the top apps, dumped them into Claude, and I said, combine all the benefits from all these apps. And then I went through and I said, this is what I like, this is what I like, this is what I like. Summarize it for me. And I put that into Cursor. And I said, build me an app that does all of this for me. And it was a nice little project. It was about 3 hours. And it actually went so well that I went ahead and published it on my website. And I'm making it free for all my subscribers. So I'm gonna it's called Lead Strong is the sub URL. But if any of you are looking for a free workout app, that's really cool. Check it out. I don't charge anything. I created it for myself, but if it benefits anybody, but I all of a sudden I'm not paying $15 for an app because I can
That's all.
build it myself. I can customize it. And one of the things that I see happening more and more is you're going to have a company that has 500 employees using Monday.com or using Asana, and all of a sudden they're going to think, why do I need to pay $20 a month for each one of my employees? I'm just going to create my own project management app. That's going to change a lot of how things work. But honestly, I think it's going to give more power to the user. But again, it is going to be, to Lear's point, it's going to be the user that understands AI in this framework. I think both of us, Leor, we don't we understand how much value there is in AI, and we understand that the opportunities that it's going to open up for people are huge. But at the same time, we don't discount that it is going to hurt a lot of people. There are a lot of people who are not going to be able to just flip a switch and transition. Somebody who's been doing, customer service answering a phone for 25 years is not just going to be able to learn LLM development or whatever it is. So, while understanding that it is going to hurt a lot of people, I think we are at the point where we just cannot afford to not seek to understand AI in 2026. Whether you agree with it or not, like it or not, understanding it is a key part of succeeding for the next 10 years.
Absolutely, I agree. I agree. I mean, I think that there's something to be said about job creation also that we can't really imagine or understand. Same, pretty similar to the with the internet and the dot com bubble was what I mentioned before. Whereas the dot com bubble was an actual bubble because
Hmm.
the whole narrative of what the internet is going to be and what it's going to do came way later than what happened to the stock market in 2000, right? So, but
Hmm.
in this case, uh, um, the utility is already there and the usage is massive and only growing. I think there's also something to be said for certain jobs that won't be lost. And it's not necessarily a different topic, but I think with the topic of AGI, it's, there's certain jobs that I don't see being replaced anytime soon, unless robotics gets to a very advanced level
Yeah.
very soon. And I think for the most part, that includes the trades, electricians, plumbers, contractors, all of
Oh,
those guys.
100%. Yeah.
And on top of that, who's building these data centers? Those guys are.
Yeah.
So, so there's something to be said about that as well. I mean,
That's why they talk
um,
about white collar job being some of the first to
yeah, I mean, I
best
just saw
jobs.
something recently. I think it was UPS, 30,000 layoffs, something like that. And their reasoning was automation.
Hmm.
And honestly, it is very sad. A lot of people are losing a lot of jobs.
Hmm.
So we'll just have to see what the future holds, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me read some of the comments on here. So Will Tice says, I'm interested in learning options trading. What sources or resources? I don't want to go into a rabbit hole. Will, there are a lot of good. I'm not a. I'm an options trader within probably a 60-day window. Once I make some money off, but I try to only go on. I probably make 3 option trades every year, on just really clear market downtrends. But I don't place my money on individual companies just because I
Yeah.
I don't need to. I'm
I
not
think
in.
I think it's kind of like a separate topic, but I will just mention like I've been in the markets for a while. I think that 99% of people should not play around with any type of trading. Most people should just dollar cost average into the S&P
Yeah.
500 and just keep doing that forever and set it and forget it. Like most people are gonna lose money.
Yeah.
So side topic, but
No,
um,
it's true. It's like, yeah, day trading and everything else. I mean, to me, it's like going to a casino and thinking, you may beat the casino 1 out of 100 times, but their
well,
business isn't beating you.
not if you know how to play blackjack well.
Well, yeah, let's talk about you. I'm just talking about
But at least you're
pulling
having
machines.
fun. At least you're having fun in the casino.
Yeah. So Diego said, overcoming AI fear is not so straightforward. The fear is not against an imaginary object. There are good reasons to be afraid. I completely understand that. I have a guest post coming up soon, coming up in 2 weeks, specifically on how so many AI implementations in companies have failed because leaders have ignored addressing the fear that their employees have. So you bring an amazing tool, nobody uses it because nobody's going to use something that they think is being trained to replace them within 1 year. So I understand the fear. It's it's so tough to have a balance between wanting to wanting to use something. The fears of it taking over the world are not something that I worry about. At this point, it's I'm not gonna lose sleep over something that I have no control. But I do think there are fears over, am I being future proofed? Am I still gonna be relevant in 5 years and 10 years? And yeah, that is something that we need to be aware of. That's one of the reasons that I created Kazor. It's Kazor.org because there's so much in AI that I think learning in community is probably one of the wisest things that you can do.
Absolutely. I will just add to that in terms of fear. And I think Joel really just hit the nail on the head there. Some things are out of your control. I think it also goes back to the AGI conversation because regulation is a serious issue
Mhm.
from so many different angles, and that's out of our hands. And again, it's regardless of your politics. Regulation is completely out of our hands. Um, whether you're looking at single companies or on a broader scale, you have, the United States of America, pretty much against this country, that country, and the third. And we're in a race. And we feel like if we don't win that race, whoever does, basically owns the world. So that's why regulation is lacking. Whether it's regulation of certain topics that I speak about, which maybe some people think isn't as important, more like moral and ethical issues, or it's regulation to prevent people from losing jobs.
Mhm.
So, which is probably a bigger issue, but definitely a bigger issue. But it's out of our hands. So just focus on what you can do as an individual and learn to implement AI into your daily life, into your businesses, into your workplace.
Yeah, and if you lead a team, and this is something I also serve in a humanitarian nonprofit, and especially on the nonprofit side, AI is almost the big bad in a lot of people's minds. It's something that I ignored in the beginning as I was trying to bring some new tools to my team, not taking into account how fearful or how reticent or how just hesitant people are of AI. And a lot of times it's just because of a lack of understanding. A lot of times we just don't understand something well, and there's ambiguity that leads to fear. And one of the best things that you could do, one of the things that I eventually did was just spend some time training my team on this is what it is, this is what this is. Um, this is it. We're trying to use this wisely. There are companies who are gonna try to use it to replace you. The way I'm trying to use it, I am trying to give you more space to do what you are an expert at, what you are good at. I want to give you more time for strategy, for planning, for content creation. Um, so it's it's important, and I think one of the things that both Leo and I talk about often is it's one thing to use AI and another thing to use AI well. There, I'm wanting Leo to write a guest post for me at some point on the difference between people who use it. What do you call it? A researcher?
Oh yeah, so yeah, just briefly, I basically just sum it up into three main groups. Um, you have the general population, which is basically their search engine on steroids. You got the 5 to 8%, which I call specialists, which are people that build. Like Joel is a machine at this point. He just built an app because he didn't want to pay $12 a month and combine his app and his wife's app, and now he's giving it to you guys for free. You have those specialists, and then you have a very small percentage of explorers that explore topics of interest to them deeply, try and, you know, cross certain obstacles and sometimes get stuck at certain safety protocols within these chatbots. And then you have a smaller fourth group, which builds relationships with AI, to sum it
Yeah.
up quickly.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. And I think most people that are in the group where they're just using AI as as Google. They're just inputting a question, getting an answer, walking away. One of the reasons that I write is because I understand the risk that there is a risk. There's an inherent risk behind using um, AI not strategically. Just like there's a risk in not using fire well. You can get burned. There's a risk in using electricity poorly. You get electrocuted. You can catch a house on fire. Um, if you subscribe to me, I actually have a post coming up on February 5th of next week, and it's a deep dive that we've been working on for a while. We're titling it "Understanding Privacy and the Age of AI." So we're really going to dive into everything around prompt injections and privacy using AI apps and how to protect yourself, how to use it wisely, what we recommend doing. There was a question on here about um, Claudebot. I am very, very careful with what access I give my AI tools. One of the reasons that I don't use Common or Atlas as my main was because I don't want there's a certain level of risk that you have to be aware of. So it if there's one thing that I'd encourage everybody is use AI, but learn to use it wisely. Understand the risks. If you're going to jump into the deep end, at least try to see, how close the shore is and how deep the water is.
That's me. That's me. I don't. I mean, like, there's definitely a lot of risk involved, but I try to let it get to know me as much as possible. So I'm not. I think privacy is a big issue, but I think that's also probably too. I mean, at least for me, it's too far gone. My opinion.
Yeah.
You know, our data as who we are as a person is worth so much to these companies that it's a business in it of itself. So,
Yeah.
um,
What I would be careful with, for example, is I don't, I use Chrome for everything that I do. And I use Claude on Chrome as my agent. So, but I always have that off when I'm in my banking page or when I'm inputting credit card information, just because they are. I mean, you go to those websites of those companies themselves, and they're going to tell you that your information is not guaranteed to be kept safe.
yeah.
I still think that I have a say there. I think you think that privacy's gone, right?
Oh no, I mean, it's not. I mean, there's probably ways to be more private than others for
Yeah,
sure. Um, but yeah, data brokers, you know,
yeah. That's a
yeah.
whole economy.
Oh yeah, huge economy.
That's why Facebook is what it is today.
Yeah.
Any questions from anybody here on anything that we talked about before we close off, or any random questions about AI or AI use or strategy? We'll give it a few. We'll give it a minute. If there's no questions, we'll close off.
Sure. I will say, while you're reading those questions, I am actually really impressed by you because it's like the amount of stuff. I mean, like, sometimes I don't have better words than stuff and things. I say stuff and things too much, but the amount of stuff that you build is just like nonstop, dude. It's
uh,
really, it's crazy because it's like, you know, I'm a little preoccupied with other things, but and again, I'm not super technical, but it seems like even from what you've mentioned in one of our other lives, like I think you mentioned something like you're not one of these super coding geniuses, right? And you're still able to build all of these things, and it's amazing.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Without AI, I couldn't do it. If it was 2020, I'd probably I couldn't do it.
Well,
But
what?
do you use
Yeah.
Claude Code at all?
Do I use what?
Claude Code. Well, you
No.
don't use Claude at all. Yeah, you
No.
use ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Claude Code is one of those everybody talks about it, and it just my eyes just cloud over when I'm looking at the
Well, so
terminal, and
do you have to know how to code to use it?
I think so.
Okay.
That's why I use Cursor because I can just I don't type. I just talk to it, and I don't think I can talk to Claude Code.
Yeah.
like I talk to all my tools.
Yeah, I mean, well, what you said is you gave it these 2 apps, right? And then you said, "I want everything that these 2 apps include in one,"
Yeah,
basically, and it just
yeah,
built it?
yeah. And
That's
then you
crazy.
do a few workouts and, keep tweaking it as I go,
Yeah.
you know?
I see one
Randy
comment.
McGuire says, yeah, what do you believe is the fastest route for an individual to monetize AI usage? Oh, I can go.
Yeah, sure.
The and then you can take the next one from Will. I don't know if you can read it on your phone. Randy, to me, one of the biggest benefits of AI is the distance between idea and delivery have become shorter than ever. Creating an idea, like making it effective and putting it out there, that still requires you to have what you've always needed to be able to make money. An innovative idea for something that has demand, or you create demand for it, and you have a strategy to go out to market. So you still need all the marketing and all the business qualities, but now you no longer need. I'll drop this again. This is I wanted to build. I didn't want to keep paying $15 a month for a workout app, so I created a workout app myself with the features from the top apps that I like, and I put it on my website. Anybody here who wants a workout app can use it, but you still need to have an innovative idea. So if you are innovative, if you're adaptable, and if you had a good market strategy, you can now build an app without needing $100,000 in, coding costs. But I feel like you still need your expertise and to make it happen. What do you think, Leo?
So I think the question was, what's the fastest way to monetize AI usage?
Yeah, to
Something along
monetize
those.
AI usage. Yeah.
Um, I can give you just
Oh,
based
and
off of. Sure.
I'd love you to share. I mean, you shared this last time, but how you used AI to save your company
Oh, yeah, yeah,
all
yeah.
that money in
Yeah,
January. I think that's a good example.
for sure. So yeah, like I think the best way for me to answer that question is based on what I did. Everybody else, has their own individual expertise, kind of like what Joel
Mhm.
said. Um, so I'll start off with the company that I work for, just briefly. It's and I think a lot of people can implement this like tomorrow. Um, and without getting into too much detail over what my company does, I'm sitting in the office here. It's a gas station company. We're private. It's not, like Mobile or Sunoco or one of these huge things. And basically, I just asked for an expense sheet, and I got the expense sheet from the company. Plugged it in ChatGPT because that's what I use, and then I said, "Find me better, cheaper options." Now, this is work that I could have done myself, but it would have taken a lot longer. That's really the only difference. But within a few minutes, I got all these options. I said, "Give me only the best ones," and I also want a spreadsheet with links that I can forward to everybody else in the office, and especially the people that are responsible for buying um, these products. And just overnight, 90% savings, 80% savings here, there. And it's like anybody could have done that on their own as well. But when you use AI to do it, it's just much quicker.
Yeah,
So that's just like a very simple, straightforward example of how, because saving money is making money. But I think that one of the misconceptions with that statement is that saving money is only making money how much time you needed to save the money, right? Like when I go and I have to get antibiotics for my daughter, and I don't know why they're charging me $30. I'm gonna have to spend an hour on the phone with a health insurance company just to get the $30 back. Is that worth my time? Maybe not. But it's definitely worth my time to spend 5 minutes and save, you know, a whole bunch of money for the company that I work for. That's that example. And in terms of on my own, just from zero to uh, where I've reached now with Substack, it was a pretty simple, straightforward idea. I when I first started it, Um, I didn't really pick a niche, which was a mistake. And then I ended up just I said to myself, "Oh, look at this cool thing, Substack. And then look at this. What's ChatGPT on mobile? And then I said, let me combine these two things and try and build a newsletter. And then eventually pick the niche, which was my somewhat expertise. I haven't been to college in a long time. I do have a degree in physics. Never really used it in my business life. And then decided, let me pick this niche and go and make my newsletter about everything AI, science, physics related.
Mhm.
And it took off from there. So those are really my main two examples, my personal
Yeah,
experience.
that's awesome. That's awesome. That's an awesome place to close. I think the same thing for me. To me, time is money, not just because I have a 7-year-old and a 2-year-old, and that's the same reason that I don't go to a grocery store. I just select everything and I get it delivered to my door because those same 2 hours, I could save that money and go myself, but those are 2 hours that I could either be working on my Substack, my job, or 2 hours that I could now be spending with my kids instead of walking up and down, different aisles of a grocery store. So, yeah, if AI is helping you do what truly brings value to your life, if AI is helping you spend more time with the people that you love or is helping you spend more time doing the things that you love, you're doing it right. That's to me, that's a summary.
Absolutely. Was there any other questions on there, Joel, that I can't see?
That's it. That's it. So, hey, we appreciate you all joining. Thank you so much. Thank you, Leo, for your time.
Anytime.
And
Thank you,
y'all
Joel.
have an awesome night.
Have a good one. Bye bye.